The rain lashed against the tall glass windows of the Skyview Hotel, turning the glittering city lights into blurred streaks of gold and silver. Inside the private lounge, a man sat alone at a corner table, a half-finished glass of wine before him and an expression that looked like it hadn't changed in years. His name was Alexander Hale, billionaire, CEO of Hale Dynamics, and the kind of man whose face appeared on magazine covers more often than in family photos. To the world, he was perfection, power, wealth, and brilliance wrapped in a tailored suit. But behind that image was a silence so heavy that even success couldn't drown it. Tonight was supposed to be his final blind date, arranged by his best friend who had grown tired of seeing him live like a ghost. Alex had agreed, not out of hope, but exhaustion. Love, he believed, was a closed chapter, something he had lost long ago in the fire of betrayal and grief. He didn't expect anything from this night, until she walked in. Before we go deeper, if you believe in kindness, unexpected miracles, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who loves stories about hope, and subscribe to the channel for more heart-touching tales that remind us that love can find us when we least expect it. She entered like a soft breeze in a storm. No diamonds, no designer clothes, no air of pretense, just quiet grace wrapped in a simple blue dress that shimmered faintly under the lights. Her hair was slightly damp from the rain, her cheeks flushed, and her eyes held the kind of warmth that felt almost out of place in a world obsessed with appearances. For a brief moment, the noise of the lounge faded. Alex didn't believe in fate, but something in his chest stirred, a strange recognition, as though his soul had paused mid-breath. She smiled nervously as she looked around, clearly searching for someone. When her eyes met his, she hesitated, then began to walk toward his table. He found himself standing without realizing it, his usual mask of control slipping just a little. Her name was Emma Collins, a primary school art teacher who had no idea. She was about to sit across from one of the most powerful men in the country. She had agreed to the blind date reluctantly after her sister had insisted she get out there instead of spending her evenings painting alone in her small apartment. She hadn't been on a date in years, not since losing her fiancé in a car accident that shattered her world. She told herself this would be her last attempt at meeting someone new, and if it didn't work, she'd stop trying. Neither of them knew that tonight wasn't coincidence. It was destiny quietly working its way through two broken lives. At first, the conversation was awkward. Alex's usual confidence felt useless here. He didn't know how to talk to someone who wasn't impressed by money or titles. Emma's calmness disarmed him. She asked questions not about his company, but about what he liked, what made him laugh, what he missed. No one had asked him that in years. She spoke about her students, how their innocence reminded her to keep believing in small joys even when the world seemed cruel. Her words touched something deep inside him. Slowly, the walls he had built began to crack. For the first time in a decade, Alex found himself laughing. Not the polite kind of laughter he used for boardrooms, but the kind that felt real. As the night stretched on, time lost meaning. The rain stopped outside, replaced by the city's soft hum. Emma's stories painted colors across Alex's grayscale world. She told him about the mural her students were painting at school, about the boy who wanted to draw superheroes because they always save everyone but never themselves. Alex listened, realizing how long it had been since he truly heard another person speak. By the time they parted ways, he felt lighter, like someone had quietly taken a burden from his shoulders. In the days that followed, he couldn't stop thinking about her. The woman who didn't care about his status, who had smiled through her own pain and made him forget his. He found himself visiting the small art fair near her school, pretending to stumble upon her. When she saw him, surprise turned into laughter. From that day on, they began to see each other more often. Coffee on weekends, walks in the park, long conversations that turned into silences comfortable enough to hold hands in. For the first time in years, Alex began to feel alive again. He started leaving the office early, something his staff whispered about in shock. He donated to Emma's school anonymously, fixing their art rooms, supplying new paints and brushes. But beneath the joy was fear, the fear of being vulnerable again. He had once trusted someone with his heart, only to be betrayed in a way that nearly destroyed him. The woman he'd loved years ago had sold company secrets to his rivals, leaving him emotionally wrecked and unable to trust. Emma didn't know that side of his story, and part of him was terrified she never should. Months passed, and their connection deepened into something unspoken, but undeniable. Yet the closer they got, the more Alex felt the ghosts of his past creeping in. One evening, after a long day at work, he visited Emma's school. The children were finishing the mural she had told him about months ago. Bright colors, little hands, and laughter filled the walls. Emma stood among them, her hair messy with paint, her smile radiant. Watching her, Alex realized he didn't want to just be a visitor in her world. He wanted to belong to it. But happiness has a way of testing us right when we think we've found peace. One afternoon, tabloids got wind of their relationship. Headlines screamed, "Billionaire CEO dating small-town teacher, public image or real love?" The news spread fast, twisting the story, invading Emma's privacy. Parents at her school questioned her, colleagues whispered behind her back, and she began receiving hateful comments online. She confronted Alex, asking why he hadn't told her how famous he truly was. The pain in her eyes gutted him. She wasn't angry about his wealth. She was hurt by his silence. Alex tried to explain that he'd wanted something real, untouched by the world's noise. But Emma needed space to think. For weeks, she avoided him, throwing herself into her work. Alex sank back into the loneliness he thought he'd escaped, realizing how easily fear can ruin something beautiful. He attended meeting after meeting, but his mind was elsewhere, on her. On the sound of her laugh, the way she made rainy nights feel warm. His friends told him to move on, but he couldn't. For the first time, he wasn't chasing profits or power. He was chasing something human. Then one day, a letter arrived at his office. It was from Emma's school, inviting him to attend the unveiling of their completed mural. At first he hesitated, unsure if she wanted him there, but something in his heart pushed him to go. When he arrived, the children were gathered outside, excitement bubbling in the air. The mural was covered with a white sheet waiting to be revealed. Emma stood beside it, nervous but smiling. When she pulled the cover away, the crowd gasped. The mural was a masterpiece of color and hope, a city skyline with bright stars, children, holding hands, and at the center a figure reaching upward toward the light. Underneath, in small letters, were the words, "Even broken hearts can rebuild the sky." Alex felt his throat tighten. In that moment, he knew this was her message to him. Not of anger, but forgiveness. After the ceremony, she walked up to him. No cameras, no headlines. Just two people standing under the same sky. She told him she'd realized something during their time apart. Love isn't about perfect timing or flawless trust. It's about two people choosing to believe in each other despite the fear. Alex, overwhelmed, told her that she had reminded him what it meant to be human, to love, to risk, to hope. And when he held her hand again, it felt like the missing piece of his life finally clicked into place. Months later, they announced their engagement quietly, without fanfare. The media tried to make a spectacle of it, but this time, neither cared. They had built something stronger than headlines, something rooted in sincerity. Alex started a foundation for underprivileged schools in Emma's name, while she continued, teaching, proving that love doesn't need grand gestures. It thrives in the simple moments of shared purpose. Together, they became the kind of story people whispered about not because of wealth or fame, but because of the truth it carried. that even the loneliest hearts can find their way home. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us create more stories that remind the world that love, hope, and kindness still matter. And before you go, comment below, "Love finds a way." If you believe that no matter how broken or lost someone feels, the right person will always bring them back to life. Because sometimes, one final chance, one unexpected meeting, one gentle smile across a rain-soaked room is all it takes to turn an ending into a beginning. And for Alex and Emma, that final blind date wasn't a joke after all. It was the moment destiny finally decided to show up.